right, everybody, welcome to Mad Warriors Metal Madness. It's been a little bit. I promised that I'd be doing it every week, but things came up like my upcoming new album that I've been working on for god damn how many years now. Had a lot of stumbles with that, and I've been trying to get that better recorded and mixed and engineered, better than I've ever done working with people everywhere pretty much. So, let's see. No. I have a little bit of a weird setup here right now because it's on this TV tray thing, my keyboard and my modeling interface, guitar modeling, not modeling. Uh, so yeah, I have a couple things on this TV tray thing. It's plastic. I got to get something better for a desk for my computer because my mouse, I have to like use it on my chair because it's just so it was like 3 years of working at home that this thing's like all dented in. I could probably move up to my actual desk where the computer's on, maybe do better. I don't know, but I don't want to do that right now. I could probably fix all that. There's a bunch of stuff. It's kind of a disaster. So, but it'll be fixed soon. So today we're going to be interviewing Rädarna, and we're interviewing the main purveyor of that project, Rikard Folk. Very interesting interview, a lot of interesting conversations and so forth. I had a lot of fun. I usually do a lot of these interviews. It's just like just such an interesting vocation, I guess you'd call it, just to interview a lot of different types of bands and stuff. Of course, I, as previously stated, am very choosy about the genres of music of the bands I interview because I've gotten some requests from bands. I was like, well, I can't really hang with that, So luckily, Rädarna is a good band project that I like. So it makes things a lot easier when you do that, when you actually like a genre of music or a band that you're interviewing. So I've talked about this a lot of times before. I'm trying to do more interviews. I will admit. So I have usually people ask me because I use a certain service to do interviews. So I'm a little bit shy at getting interviews outside of like me putting up an ad or being on certain services to get interviews. Like me actively doing it, I'll just be honest. Like I want to. Like I have some people on social media that I want to ask. I'm just like, I'm like, oh, should I do it? Well, So I have a little bit of whatever you want to call it, anxiety about that. Anxiety, I guess, about that. I'll be honest. Like I don't know, but I think they've been getting better and better, and it's always on my terms as far as what I like. So I'm very happy that that's the case. Traditional metal, black metal, power metal, in this case, folk metal. I mean, it's been really cool so far, and I want to tailor this podcast to the stuff that I like and the stuff that it's a selfish, pursuit, but it's the truth. I don't like, there's certain things I don't like, so obviously, but as gatekeeper as that sounds, I really don't care. That's the way it's going to remain. I just, I don't know why I guess I'm talking about this because I'm just like kind of grateful that I've been able to interview some cool bands now. Instead of bands, and I know people say, oh, you gotta, like work your way up and you gotta interview stuff you don't like or, play music you don't like or whatever. It's like, why? Why do I have to do that? The best people in the world are uncompromising in some ways. The people that want to please everybody kind of suck. But that's kind of how I view it. People may disagree, obviously, but that's why I enjoy this. I'm going to try to get a little bit more outgoing about interviews and even try to start asking bands. I haven't done that as much so far, honestly, except for like when I put it up a Craigslist ad a couple of times, and I got a couple of responses, and there was a good interview from that too. Um, it was. I'm not going to say who it was because I don't. I don't know. I've been doing a lot of cool interviews though, but this band I'm interviewing on this podcast. This is recorded Sunday. This part of the podcast. This is Tuesday today. That I'm recording this part. Or was it Saturday? I think it was Sunday. This interview went really well, and I feel like it's like kind of a synchronicity with a lot of what's happening with these interviews. Because, like, for example, there was an interview that like almost every person I've interviewed so far is like a role playing person somehow. Like, oh man, and then it was like there was Kiss fan or Iron Maiden fan or whatever. It's just like it seems like I interview a lot of people that think the same way as not think the same way as me, but usually there's a lot of things in common. I like to get that out of the interview subject too. So, and I know that people want to hear the news, so I guess because they think it's entertaining. I got over my hesitancy to do the news segment because for a while I was like, oh man, I'm making fun of a lot of bands and stuff, but whatever, it's kind of fun. I like I don't watch them as much now, but like Ralph Vieira on YouTube has a lot of funny stuff he says about other styles of music, so I don't really care. I think it's cool. So anyways, without further ado, let's do the news. Let's see what's going on. So I'm going to go on. Oh, a bonus, that bonus part. I forgot about that. It's pretty ridiculous. It's public domain news music that I downloaded. Latest news. Watch Queensryche Todd Latour play drums with Marty Friedman for Megadeth's Tornado of Souls. Sounds kind of cool. I like Todd Latour. I used to listen to his YouTube songs that he had before like he fully joined Queensryche. Like, he was sort of in the band at that time, but like he had some cool stuff. He took it down, I think. He had like all these demos. It's pretty cool. Prog metal kind of stuff. Watch Metallica's Lars Ulrich demonstrate his double bass drumming technique on the Howard Stern show. I don't know. Demonstrate his Hey, I don't know. Maybe he's been practicing. Who knows? I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm not going to watch it. But, anyways, Jason Newsted says Newsted concert in Fort Lauderdale is a one-off, but doesn't rule out further future activity. Oh, that's cool. Richard Faulkner says Rob Halford is still doing a few vocal top chops for a Priest next album. Cool. Okay. Mammoth, Van Halen, Heart, Avenged Sevenfold. I like to get to the juicy stuff, pretty much. Like Roger Waters right here. This is not a drill. I'm sure the comments are pretty terrible. Neil Scone. Oh, here we go. Motley Crue. So, Motley Crue enters studio. This microphone is getting a little wonky here with the sound. Motley Crue enters studio with longtime producer Bob Rock. Okay, well, John Five is a great guitarist, by the way. I really like his like bluegrass influence and stuff, but like using backing tracks is not cool. Okay, I'm sorry. I've used backing tracks with certain bands I was in or projects, but it was kind of necessary for various reasons, or it was part of the music, like MIDI and stuff, like MIDI video game music in the background and stuff. But using backing tracks for an instrument that you fucking know how to play or should know how to play is cowardly. So that's all I got to say about that. And so is saying that you're going to retire and then not doing it, but every band does that now. It seems like it's gotten to be a cliche. Let me try to get this audio a little better. Is that a little better? I think it is. I think this is a little better. That sounds a little better. Let me see how loud I'm getting. Sorry to mess with this stuff. I just haven't in a while. Is that better? I think that's better. Wait, that's perfect. Okay, never mind. Hopefully you heard me. I turned the microphone around. I don't even know how to use a microphone. I'm doing this podcast. Rancid announced his 10th studio album, Tomorrow Never Comes. Okay. Rammstein, James Hetfield, Metallica invented a subgenre of heavy metal. Kind of, sort of, maybe. Greta Van Fleet. Yeah. Carmine Apiece, that's a little drama, says Mick Mars' lawsuit against Motley Crue vindicates him in his comments about the guitarist's departure, because he had some comments to say about that. I agree with him. But I'm kind of jaded because I like mainly the first two Motley Crue and a couple scattered songs and stuff on each album. But for the most part, the first two I see as flawless. So, oh, there's a new Deep Purple guitarist. Wow, that's interesting. Ozzy Osbourne walking around. Sherry Curry never forgive Lita Ford for backing out of the Runaways reunion when Sandy West needed a boost. I think they've played together since that, though. I don't know. Whatever. That'd be an interesting band to see live, like a reunion of the Runaways, like the grandma version of the Runaways. It's awesome. Stained. Oh, yeah, great. Cradle of Filth weighs on the doom and gloom of post-pandemic touring. Okay. I don't know. The tours are going crazy this year. I can't even afford all the concerts that are coming around. I don't know what he's talking about now. It's gone crazy. Scorpions, Matthias, Jabs, Claws Mine, Praise, Greta Van Fleet. Very inspired by Led Zeppelin, but pretty cool. They were kind of inspired by Led Zeppelin as well. The difference, Greta Van Fleet are not terrible. I'll just come out and say it. Like, at least they sound real to some extent. Real amps and drums, and they're a throwback band. They sound exactly like Led Zeppelin. There's no doubt about it. But and I've heard the second one sounds a little like Rush's first album, which is pretty funny. But Scorpions were very influenced by Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath and stuff, like on their first album. Other stuff too. I love the first Scorpions album. Lonesome Crow. This is their first album. Surviving Soundgarden members and Widow reach agreement. That's okay, I guess. Lars Ulrich explains how his child custody battle changed the way Metallica tours. Okay. That's interesting. I'm on Blabbermouth, by the way. That's where I get all this news. But maybe I'll go to a different site eventually. Now, here's some news and weird stuff that I'm going to talk about. And I'm not trying to call anybody out, but this is a little, well, I don't know if I should do this, but oh, God. So recently there was an interview with Trey Azagtoth of Morbid Angel that made the rounds. And honestly, he just kind of seems in a bad way, but maybe he was just drunk. I don't know. It was just a little weird. I like Trey. He's a great guitarist. Morbid Angel's awesome. So it was just a little weird seeing that. And I've heard some guy on YouTube or something said, I was there, he was just drunk and he was burning his arms with cigarettes, or we were playing a game or something. But it's just like, oh, I don't know, man. It's just kind of scary. I just wonder, there haven't been like tons of Morbid Angel albums in the last 10 years, but a lot of people slow down, as they get older with music and stuff. I don't know. Anyways, I just wanted to comment on that. I know it's controversial, so that's why I said it. I don't know. So let's see. Ian Anderson. It looks like Walter White. Ian Anderson of Jethro Tull looks exactly like Walter White in this picture. It's kind of hilarious. Misappropriation of Umlaut by Motorhead and Motley Crue either make you laugh or get angry. Well, whatever, dude. Aerosmith, Joe Perry project. Interesting. Lars Ulrich says 72 Seasons is the most friction-free record Metallica has ever made. Well, I don't know how to take that if they're like, I don't know, whatever. Brian Johnson statue, Dark Angel, Ripper Owens. Here we go. Immortals Demonaz has not been in contact with Abath and Horg for some time. In me, there's no bitterness, he says. And I happen to like actually both projects, which is a result of the original Immortal. I didn't like the post Blizzard Beasts sound at first because Blizzard Beasts was like when I was like a late teenager, early adult, like I was like one of the craziest albums I'd heard at the time, like for blackened death metal influenced black metal, I guess you'd call it. Just insane guitar. The guitar is faster than everything I'd ever heard. I mean, except for maybe grind stuff, but it just was so crazy. I love that album still, and I know it's not one of the most popular. It's not a popular album. Like At the Heart of Winter and all that is more popular, but I love Blizzard Beast to this day. Metallica to become first major rock band to release all music videos from one album in American Sign Language. Okay, that's interesting. George Lynch. I'm not trying to impress other guitar players as much as I used to. You know, I gotta hand it to George Lynch because I'm just gonna say, like, he's one of my favorite guitarists. Not only that, but like he is like he's who I model. I mean, you can say what you want about what he plays, if he improvises too much sometimes or does this or that. You can say what you want. But the guy is just like so prolific at his age. That is the model of what I want to be on guitar and stuff. I want to be that prolific at that age. Like just I can't even count all the projects and bands he's in. It's crazy. I think it's awesome. Metallica's Lars Ulrich. We love each other endlessly. Enjoy playing music together. I don't know why I found that funny. Billy Sheehan, Mr. Big is talking about writing new music. Okay. Joe Elliott. Yeah, that's not exciting. Jolyn Turner doesn't believe there's any truth to the rumor that Ritchie Blackmore has been in talks about to returning to Deep Purple. Well, I for sure would probably go see that, honestly, if he did return, even if Ian Gillan isn't all he used to be on vocals, because people's vocals go different ways as a whatever. Don't like to use the word, but I'm going to say it. Age. Steven Tyler is better. Hollywood Vampires. Oh, okay. Here's an interesting one. This is whoa, what's going on with my audio here? Is it still picking up? Are we picking up here? Hopefully we are. Max and Igor Cavalera re-record Sepultura's Bestial Devastation and Morbid Visions announced tour. That's pretty cool. I'd go see that. Sabaton, Paul Stanley, Barbara Shanker, rest in peace. That's Michael and Rudolph's younger sister, I guess. Ted Nugent says he will play his final tour. Okay. A lot of people say it's their final tour, but they'll still play festivals and still play small tours. I'm not saying they're lying, but like big tours, maybe they don't do anymore, like 2-year tours. Nikki Sixx confirms Motley Crue is writing new music. We're just letting the songs guide us. Well, I hope they do write music and it's just them. That's been my main complaint about a lot of these bands. It's like, oh, we got to have all these outside songwriters because it's like the musical version of Viagra for older, aging men rock stars. I'm just being completely honest. That's the way it is. These guys get outside songwriters. Scorpions got them too. Oh, we have a song written by Diane Warren on this record. Well, fuck you. Write the songs. One thing about Metallica, you can criticize, and I do criticize modern day Metallica or Iron Maiden. But one thing you can say about them is they don't use outside songwriters. So that immediately makes them better. Even if even if not everything they do is to my taste nowadays, I still think they're better than bands that use outside songwriters, including Motley Crue. Saints of Los Angeles is a 6 a.m. album, basically, with all these other writers. It's like, God, what about 4 people getting in a room and jamming out songs like they used to? What's so hard about that? I guess you're a millionaire. You don't care anymore about it. Smashing Pumpkins. Former Iron Maiden singer Blaze Bayley is undergoing triple heart bypass surgery. Best of wishes to him. Great singer. I'm not going to apologize for saying that as far as I liked him in Maiden. His solo work might be better, or at least equal or better, or some people think it's better. I'm just saying than modern Iron Maiden. He has some really good solo albums. The first two especially were just awesome back in the day when I heard him. Gene Simmons, sorry for laughing, but Gene Simmons is doing okay after falling ill during concert. Blames dehydration, immunity. Voivod recording an album with some former members and stuff. It's pretty cool. Doing old songs. Metallica on Jimmy Kimmel. I don't care. I don't like Jimmy Kimmel. Dolly Parton. Oh, won't go into that. Matt Barlow and that's kind of cool. Okay. Ed Sheeran and Cradle of Filth. That's so weird. Sleep Token. I've never heard Sleep Token. I don't know if they're good or not. Sammy Hagar. Just trying to find stuff, Oh, here we go. Because I like the controversial stuff, obviously. Motley Crue's manager accuses Mick Mars's representatives of elder abuse. Yeah, well, forcing someone to go out and tour so you can make a bunch of money, isn't that elder abuse too? I don't know. I guess he wasn't forced, but I don't know. The whole Motley Crue thing is just so stupid. I mean, why did they come back in the first place? Money. It's just, and it's so ridiculous and it's so pathetic. It's like, just go away. Sorry, I'm not kidding. And I kind of like some of Nikki Sixx's, like, I read like his book, like one of his books, and he seems like an all right guy, but I'm just, I just can't deal with that reunion shit. Public Image Limited coming out with a new album called End of World. Pretty cool. I like John Lydon, and Public Image Limited is great. Peter Frampton. Wow, that's taking you back to the 70s. Baby Metal and Death Clock announced Baby Clock Summer Fall North American co-headline tour 2023. Where to start on that one? I don't know. I do like Death Clock. I like Metalocalypse. I thought it was great. Ted Nugent stands with Kid Rock and Anheuser-Busch boycott. I'm not going to go into that on this episode. I have certain people are kind of annoying in their presentation. I'm just going to say, and I'm not talking about Ted Nugent, but that doesn't mean I would boycott a beer that I don't even drink anyways. Of course, Anheuser-Busch probably loves the controversy. It's part of modern day society, is making controversy and selling your product. That's how it goes. You have to do it sometimes. You have to have, there's a book about that by Ryan Holiday. What was it called? God, read it years back. It was really good. Just about how controversy feeds like sales and stuff. But I don't really care. I'm kind of in the middle on that whole thing. Not really in the middle. I just don't care because I don't like Bud Light. But I think it's hilarious to see Kid Rock like shooting Bud Lights. It's like kind of pathetic. There's a lot of other things in the world that are, going on that are way more important. It's kind of stupid. It is stupid. At the same time, I've seen some clips of Dylan Mulvaney, and I'm just like, oh, just something's cringe about Dylan Mulvaney. Not because of, their gender or whatever. I'm just saying they're kind of cringe. So just the clips I've seen, just like over the top, like annoying stuff. Watch Deicide perform in Orlando. Oh, Deicide is... So I watched a Glenn Benton interview on YouTube from like a month or two ago. And he has his shit together, Just saying, like, it seems like... It's just the vibe that I got is like, Deicide just like... They're an old band now, but it's like, they're just writing it out, and, they're doing well as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I don't know about their new album. I haven't heard their new album yet. Or do they have a new album? Shit, I don't know. I don't think they do. Not yet. They will have a new album. Oh, I'm getting sick of this news. Anyways, ex-Judas Priest guitarist K.K. Downing sympathizes with Mick Mars. Okay. John Regan from Fraley's Comet, dead at 71. That's sad. Zach Stevens. Who else? What else? Mike Mars on his Motley Crue bandmates. I carried these bastards for years. Well, maybe. I really don't care because, like, Motley Crue to me, the only thing that I liked, excuse me, is probably the guitar, like in the later years, for sure. I mean, I'll just be honest. Tommy Lee could have been like a much more prolific drummer too, in my opinion. He was pretty good. He's probably one of the best. He's probably one of the best members of the band, other than Mick Mars. I you know I don't know about Vince Neil nowadays. Obviously, the memes are out there. You know, they're true. Metallica. Speaking of memes, lick, Metallica's lick. Metallica's Lars Ulrich. It's often easier to play fast than it is to play slow. Well, it depends on what you mean. If you're playing precise and playing fast, it's very hard. Just, playing, I'm talking about drums, guitar, anything. If you're playing fast, just playing fast, then it's pretty easy. But as someone that's, still learning guitar, I mean, still trying to advance a guitar, I should say. Most people probably think I know guitar, but I don't agree with them necessarily, even though I release a lot of music. It's hard to play precise and fast, so whatever. I think I'm going to be done with this news. Let's see. Ace Frehley claims Paul Stanley called him last week to say fuck you. I'm so sick of the Kiss drama. Kiss is just like, it's like Motley Crue. It's like, just go away. I've had it. It's over. And rightfully so. I just don't care about Kiss. I saw Ace Frehley live like in 2014. It was great. And I love Kiss. They're one of my favorite bands. I never thought they would be one of my favorite bands at this age. What happened was about 10 years ago, I was like doing this kind of joke thing for a while, like I'm going to check out every band's most hated album, and I'd never heard Music from the Elder by Kiss, but I picked it up and I was like, oh, I really like this. And then I got back into Kiss because I boycotted them for years because of Gene Simmons saying it was only for the money, which I don't believe he really believes 100%, but that's why I boycotted Kiss for a long time. I'll just say I'm kind of getting up there, so I'm not going to say it's an embarrassing amount of years, but but as a teenager, I got into them. And then, for a while, I listened to Destroyer a lot for whatever reason, like in the early 2000s. And then I stopped, or I still listen to that and occasionally listen to them, but I was just like, yeah, it's a guilty pleasure. And then, I got into them super hardcore in like 2012 and stuff. So, like, I got to be a real fan at that point because I listened to every album pretty much of theirs. So then I finally got to see Ace Frehley. I'll never see Kiss because it's just not the same. It's just not the same seeing a lot of these bands. Like I went to see Kings of Thrash. I mentioned that I think it was the last episode. And that was just amazing. But, sometimes if you have some fresh blood in there, it certainly helps, I think it certainly helps. Or if someone took care of themselves, or if they just take a break for a while, or do a different way of doing things and don't just like mail it in like a lot of older bands do. I'm not saying Megadeth. I'm just saying, it had this freshness to it. So I don't know what I'm trying to say. Well, Kiss does not have that from what I've seen, anymore. They just can't match up with what they used to be, like in the 70s, especially. Like some of that Love Gun tour stuff is like just my favorite music ever. Just seeing the footage and the stage and all the stuff that they did back in the day. It was so amazing. And I wasn't like a huge Kiss guy growing up. In fact, it took me. Why am I talking about Kiss? I'm just gonna blather about Kiss. Nobody minds. I wasn't a huge Kiss fan growing up. My brother-in-law at the time had like a Kiss tape, and I listened to it just for shits and giggles, and I was like, wow, this is really good. I really like this. It was the first album, self-titled, and then I got Alive and Alive 2 at a record store, and I listened to them a lot. I loved them. That was the extent, though. I was listening to those 2 live albums, which I still I loved. And then I was Gene Simmons for Halloween one year. I was getting quite into them because I had the first one and those 2, and years later I got Destroyer and listened to that a lot. And then finally in like 2012, I became like a huge, like a super fan. Not a super fan like I'm gonna buy a fucking Kiss casket. Obviously, I have a cynical lens on Kiss, but I'm just saying like I like Paul Stanley's like one of my favorite singers. In fact, my band does look it up, so that's just how that goes. So I'm gonna be doing the interview, and I thought it went really well. So you'll hear us talk about a wide variety of subjects and have some interesting views on various things, including some recent world events. So I hope you enjoy.
So welcome to the show. Your name is Ricard. That is the right pronunciation?
No, it's not, but it's okay. We won't make everyone struggle with that. No
Oh,
one
okay.
is gonna get it right anyways.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead and say your name.
Rikard Falk, but that's like
Okay.
Swedish pronunciation. Nobody's gonna do that.
Okay. All right.
My
So,
last name is Falcon, like the bird.
oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us about how, and you're from the band Rädarna. Is that how to? I don't know if that's how to pronounce that, but
Rådarna. Again, it's Swedish pronunciation.
yeah.
It will just be annoying for everyone to try to pronounce
Oh,
it right.
well, I'm in
Okay.
the Midwest. We pronounce everything like we have a bunch of cheese stuck up our ass or something.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so
Like
it's fine.
I've been stuck. I kind of separated myself from civilization and moved out into the forest. And then 3 years later, I got the idea to make this album. And yeah, I worked together with a guy named Jose. It started with the chorus to House of Banshee, if you have heard it now. You heard half the first album, I think.
Oh yeah, that was the Fomorian Horde. So just how was it? How did you get into music? How was it like? What did you get into? And as far as growing up and everything in Sweden.
Oh, I didn't like music much. I'm very picky with music, to be honest. Like, it takes very long time for me to get into a song at all. Like, sometimes I play like one song on an album and I replay that song 50 times.
Oh yeah.
It's weird, a bit weird, like that. So, but well, there was a guy that is an influence on me musically, but he's also an influence on System of a Down, but he's not best not mentioned.
Oh, okay. Well, when did you get your first guitar?
Oh, I actually got a guitar from my dad, but yeah, he had carved his name on it. And a string is broken on it, so I'm not using it. I actually taught myself notes, and that's how I composed the music on Guitar Pro. Like you have heard of that program, I'm
Oh
sure.
yeah, I do use it. Yeah.
Like when you can hear the what it sounds like, it's easy to figure out. Like with a guitar, you have to learn the tuning and everything, and I mostly like only play around with that rather than do anything seriously with that. So.
Oh yeah, no, I had actually a bass player. They wrote a lot of songs on that for one of my bands I was in. So yeah, I'm pretty familiar with that process. I just like to play riffs, so I
You
don't
know,
use it that much. But
the Guitar Pro approach is probably best if you're stuck in the middle of separated from civilization, and like you need to like you have people be in separate places, because then you can give an idea of where you're going. Like even if there's room for creativity, you still need to have a common vision so it doesn't get jumbled. If you meet in real life, it's easier to not get jumbled when you experiment, but you need to have a direction if in this situation.
oh, okay. So what inspired you to move out of the city? was the what
Oh,
was the
it
impetus for
was
that?
it was crazy. It was like lots of violence where I lived.
Oh,
Yeah, it was like I went for a walk and like a guy got stabbed to death, and I on a path I usually walk, so I decided, okay, I'm going to buy a house far away from civilization now. In 2015, then I've noticed that the world has gotten crazier since.
oh yeah. So like, is it self-sustained, or what's the situation with where you live then?
I take it from day to day.
Oh, okay.
I didn't have any income for several months, by the way, by making the Fomorian Horde. So
Oh, okay. Do you have like a farm, or what's the situation with all that? Like, do you homestead or?
I actually had prepared lots of reserve food. Like I bought the house without even looking at it. So I live on the side of the mountain. My neighbor killed herself, and the other guy way down went insane. So
Oh, damn.
it's like I'm the last man standing on the mountainside. Everyone is.
Well, I remember that At the Gate song from the '90s, Suicide Nation. Is it really that bad in Sweden for that, or they say, or?
No, I don't. Well, we should.
I can do that.
Let, let's let's try to edit it out because I think. Yeah,
Okay, that's fine.
I'm sorry. I dropped the ball. I was just rambling a bit. So
Okay. So what do you think is what inspired you as far as the EP versus the album? Like how
oh
do you differentiate what did you like, what kind of new paradigm did you record that with, or what was the
well
uh
the I the first thing with the EP was that I was going to put more effort into the layers of the song. Like if you know what how myths work, is that they work in different layers. Like there's a personal, there's a literal, and there's a spiritual. So I try to like make the lyrics and the theme of the song more multi-layered than just straightforward. Some of the songs in the Formula Horde are slightly multi-layered, but not as complicated as the Heavenly Demons. So
oh yeah, so um yeah, it's I liked the EP, and I listened to most of the first album as well. So how did you get that artwork designed? Because that's, I mean,
oh,
especially the new one is really cool.
it's designed by Andy Pacharek. He draws a lot of folklore stuff. I actually bought his books before finding him and hiring him. So
Oh yeah, that's cool.
I really like his art. So it was it's something unique. It gives this feel of almost a 1800 drawing in some storybook. If you've seen those.
Oh, of course, yeah, definitely. So, and yeah, as far as you were talking about, I guess we can get to that in a bit. You were concerned with talking about AI in music. I was just watching that frostbite frostbite Orc Kings video a little bit ago. So we'll get to that though. I know you wanted to talk about that, right? You still want to discuss that whole issue?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Uh, where do we start with it?
Well, we'll go over your band first, then we can go into that. But I was just bringing that up, just kind of came to mind. So as far as the lyrics, I did notice, um, and don't get me wrong, I don't want to misjudge or anything, but like there is a lot of humor in there, or what some people may perceive as humor. What inspired you to kind of take a more lighthearted approach with some of the lyrics?
When I was little, I used to like I was out fishing, and we decided to I got a strange idea to pull up the fishing rod and move it close to the boat, next to the boat. And my grandpa and father was like, "You can't do that. That's stupid. You won't catch any fish." And I got caught a fish as big as me. And that's how I decided I should do things differently.
Oh, yeah. There's always that point in your life where you want to do things that are outside the norm. Yeah.
I think one of the problems with metal is that I actually need to be reminded by everyone else in the creative process that people expect brutality, but I actually think metal should be mostly about having fun. So I kind of have that approach. Also, I think folklore tends to be quite bizarre, and I find humor in that. I actually think the humor comes from it being weird rather than it being intentional as being funny. It's meant to be a fun time, but there's also a darker level to it that is not clear in the first viewing of it.
Yeah, definitely. I've read some of that stuff, so I mean, there's definitely something that you can draw from that that's humorous, and sometimes it's very inspiring too, of course. So yeah. So I mean, as far as where you live now, have you seen any of these creatures that you talk about in your lyrics at all, or do you think there's any truth to some of those legends or tales as far as that goes?
Well, I think all legends and tales have a starting point of some grain of truth, but I actually will say if I actually saw stuff, I wouldn't talk about it.
Oh, okay.
I mean, for really, if you see something and deal with something, you shouldn't talk about it. It sounds really stupid.
Yeah. No, I mean, people share too much nowadays. I think people are.
Also think people fake. There's a modern movement of ideas about this creature, but it doesn't make a lot of sense with what was said in the past. As someone that's read a lot of folklore and such, they often don't know very much about it. It's like they know more about the modern movies and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And then in that circle, it's also a lot of people that like to pretend they are fairy queens and stuff, and I just don't I just can't believe that. I don't believe it's like when you go to the nut ward, you have 3 people that say they're Abraham Lincoln in past life. 2 of them are lying.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the problem with that is people aren't willing to put in the real work. They'll just go to a convention and dress like something.
If you want to fake it, at least do it well.
Yeah.
Put some effort in.
Yeah, I mean that would be more that's more interesting to me.
Yeah, where are all the fairy plebes, like the people, the fairy plumber?
Yeah, exactly.
The fairy yo. He's the janitor fairy.
Yeah, exactly.
I was the janitor fairy in the past life. Not very interesting.
I think as things get more interesting in our society, I think there will be more people just deciding to, well, I can hope that people will be doing more crazy stuff like that, but I'd almost rather see people actually live like fairies, 24/7, and just that's their lifestyle.
Well, that would be very bad, because if you know anything about fairies, they are very evil.
Oh, okay. I'm not actually familiar with the lore. I think there was a role playing game that I was part of that they did have.
I'm not gonna claim to be expert on fairies. I'm actually more familiar with Norse stuff, and that's different. It's complicated with the words, but Fiori, like, it only means magical creatures, and there's a huge variety of magical creatures in the British Isles.
Oh yeah.
And I don't like that term to be used for trolls, for example, which have their past in like the Norse mythology of the Jötnar and stuff like that, the giants and stuff. So it's there's of course a source, but there's like deeper. So I don't I don't like the modern take on things. I like to like really know what I'm writing about rather than just a surface level and stuff that happened the past 100 years. But like I'm going like past 1,000 years. Make sure I read medieval stuff. I even read preachings from churches. Like that's a place you can find much information where as church they tell a story there because and you can read also court documents. That's another source you can look for. Like there were actually people that were executed not only for witchcraft but interacting with these weird creatures and stuff. So
Oh wow. Yeah, it's crazy stuff. What do you think of the? Yeah, I think it's good to be genuine like that. You know, this people seem to write a lot of songs about mythical stuff, but they don't really go that deep into it like you're talking about. So that's the problem. It's just like kind of I don't know. It's just it gets a little cliched at times, with some of these bands and stuff. So
well, I actually want to buy more books before next album. Like I would like 9 books maybe to fill out the last couple of songs. So because like I want to find interesting stuff to do. Like I also want to like be well read on it rather than surface level. Like I said. I guess I ranted a bit too much.
oh, don't worry about it. That's fine. That's what this is for. So yeah, as far as like recording the 2 releases so far, like what was the process for that?
Oh, that's kind of boring. Like you write it, you record it. It's no more
Other than
than that.
Guitar Pro. Yeah.
You improve if something is wrong. It's like doing a chore. It's not the most fun part. The most fun part is when it's done and when you're in the process of creating.
Oh yeah. I just like to ask those questions because I'm kind of a recording nerd. I'm trying to get better at my own shit too. So it's kind of a selfish question.
Yeah.
Like I'm like this. It was very well recorded. That's the thing about your music. Like, just it was very clean and it just sounds. You could hear everything. A lot of this, and it doesn't sound bad for a modern recording either. Like as far as a lot of modern recordings, I don't like how quantized they sound sometimes. So it didn't have that either. So that was a plus as well.
I think the key to it is making sure you have good musicians everywhere, because otherwise the one that does mastering and stuff, mixing and master, we have to alter too much to make it sound good,
Oh yeah, for sure. Now that's tricky.
You need to make sure that every musician is like top quality. Then you get top quality results, or the best possible quality result.
Yeah, one of my problems is that I'll mix something and then I'll have someone else mix it, and then I'm like, oh, it sounds like shit because I did it and it sounds terrible, and usually it does kind of sound terrible, but then the other person will mix it really well, and then I'll be like, after a couple of months, I'll be like, oh, I really like my mix a little better.
Yeah,
that sucks.
it's actually very hard to like decide what's good for your own music, because it's like your child. It can be an ugly little fucker, but but it's your child. You think he's the most beautiful.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's impossible to judge your own music like if it's to judge your own style. You need someone else to judge it.
I agree with that. That's like why these like older bands start putting out these shitty albums or like albums that just sound like nobody else had input because they had all these yes men around and stuff. So I'm not going to mention names, but
I know what you mean, but I also think that if you do the same thing too much, you will eventually run out of ideas, and that's a huge problem. Like you can only go in one direction for this long, then you have to do something else.
oh yeah, you have to progress as a musician. I mean, I listen to Bad Magic. I hadn't heard that album yet by Motorhead, their last album, and I was like, well, this is really good. So I think some bands can get away with it, but like most bands seem not to be able to.
Like to be able to do it for 30 years or 40 years or something like that. That's crazy. Like there's very few people that can do that and make it still be good.
Yeah, exactly. It's very, very rare. It's Iron Maiden's my favorite band of all time, but it's like there's things I don't like about their new stuff, and there's things I do like about the new stuff, but it's like I don't know. But there's other bands that have just totally.
One of the bands I liked when I grew up was Manowar, but I liked the early stuff, not what they do now.
Yeah, I have a Manowar tattoo, actually, the sign of the hammer on my right shoulder.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan. That new one. Well, I don't want to go. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we should be bashing Manowar's new stuff or be, because I feel bad. Because like, what if you ran into Joey DeMeo on? He's like, you said this on a podcast. You were totally a dick.
I think Joey DeMeo is like the George Lucas of metal music.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
he's too much special effects now. Like he goes crazy with special effects and too much ego. He adds Jar Binks in there.
Well, it's like that one of the last songs I released. I can't remember the lyric, but it's like he was like, it's like him getting defensive about his own music. Like, if you don't like it, fuck you. It's like it's really funny. It wasn't like their old stuff, like brothers. I mean, there's like leave the hall.
I really think it's a case of doing the same music for too long. I think that's much the case. Also, I think that I'm gonna say it. Ross the Boss leaving was a huge mistake.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think Ross the Boss was a kind of the heart of the band in a way. I mean, I love, I really like it. The strange thing.
You know who I wanted to pair up with Ross the Boss? Eric Adams and Ross the Boss would have been a great duo to do something together again, because that would be more Manowar, I think, than anything.
Oh, absolutely. I liked, the thing is I like Gods of War, and I did like Warriors of the World to some extent, but
I actually liked Gods of War, but I think it had too much intros and outros, and you know what they should have done? They should have saved the stuff from the, what was it called, Thunder in the Sky EP, and saved that and combined that with Gods of War and removed a lot of the filler from Gods of War and combined that. It would have been a good final album, I think.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then the thing really pissed me off is they released a whole album, like a double album of like with that fantasy writer or whatever, that was back in 2010 or something. And then he's like, we deleted the album, and this new album's going to make your balls you'll light your balls on fire. And that was, God, even Lords of
Like I said, it's the George Lucas of heavy metal.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's a special, here we got the special edition. It's the exact same. Now greed a shot first.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're turning into the Disney of metal too, unfortunately, or the new Disney. I just don't like the new, I don't like that. I don't like any of the new Star Wars, pretty much. Prequels are, that's just my thing.
Yeah, but we're really sidetracking here, but I grew up with the prequels. I I I definitely like Revenge of the Sith. I don't. I'm okay with Phantom Menace. I think it's a very flawed movie and should be fixed in many ways. But the movie I can't stand up the original movies. Like I think the worst one is the Attack of the Clones. The romance there, you can't stand it.
Oh yeah, that was a bad one. I think I saw all three in the theater. I thought I didn't see Last Jedi in the theater as far as the new ones, but I saw the other ones too. I did, and I was in utero during the first Star Wars, I believe, because I'm that old. So,
Yeah.
but I wasn't alive. I think I saw Empire and Return. I remember Return back in the day, I think. But yeah, it was interesting.
I actually think my favorites are Return and Revenge of the Sith. Like, I just like the Emperor. The Emperor is like really fun.
Yeah, I love Return of the Jedi. It's probably my favorite, actually. And there was an Emperor, the band Emperor. There was an Emperor shirt that had the Emperor shirt, Emperor Palpatine, or maybe there wasn't. It was just a picture, but I want to put it on a shirt. I really want to do that. I'm going to try to work on that.
The best thing about Emperor Palpatine is that he's a bad guy that loves being bad so much that you kind of get along with it. It's very different from every villain today that has to be redeemed. It's like, no, he wants to be redeemed.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he's my favorite. He is my favorite. He's absolutely great. I mean, it's just so decrepit. And that's the only thing about the new one that kind of, I don't know. I don't like the new ones, but the prequels, yeah, I'd say Revenge of the Sith is the one that I could stand the most. I like the most. I actually own that. It's funny. It's the only one I own. Any of the newer ones post the original trilogy. So, but yeah, I mean, I think George Lucas is quite a interesting individual. Let's say that. But
I think he was too surrounded by yes men. I also think he didn't like. I think he didn't want to direct the prequels, and maybe that was the right choice. But he kind of was pushed into directing them, so I think that was kind of bad. I think it would have been better if someone took his ideas and like the basic stuff and improved on it and like made it better and directed it instead of him. Like it would have turned out better. Like if you don't want to do something, you shouldn't do it.
Yeah, and he was too obsessed with new technology. That was another thing. He's just like so impressed. He's like all this stuff.
Honestly, that would have been a problem if everything else worked. You can enjoy your special effects, but everything else has to work. That's the problem. But anyways, I like the prequels better than the newer stuff. I was disappointed with The Force Awakens, and I gave one last chance with the Last Jedi because I thought, okay, it can turn around. Okay, it didn't turn around. I'm out of it. I haven't watched any more Star Wars besides that.
You're probably better off. I mean, and you can watch all the stuff. I watch all these YouTube analysis of all these movies, all these new movies. It's crazy. I just watch all those.
Yeah,
half the time I watch
it always turns out to turn into crap because, like, I heard everyone talk about how great the Mandalorian was, and now.
Oh yeah.
Jack Black. Honestly, I like Jack Black. He could have been entertaining, but he seems weird in Star Wars. Like it seems out of place.
Yeah, I watch a lot of like I even though it's kind of stupid in a way, like it's becoming so cliched. I do like a lot of A24 movies, but I know it's kind of embarrassing to say at this point because it's getting kind of cliched and stuff. But I do. There are new movies I like. That's what I'm saying. But like, so I was going to ask you about this because like, what do you think about like some of these? Or I don't know if you've played D&D or anything like that, but the like sensitivity readers going through D&D now and like saying we cannot have halflings or trolls because it's problematic or whatever. And you're talking about stuff that's like thousands of years old too, So I wanted to get your opinion on that.
I think they're gonna fail. Like I think it's not gonna work very long. Like much of what we're dealing with now is like the medieval mentality. Like they are the church. They are the church returning. Just because we got rid of religion stuff doesn't mean that religious behavior stop. Like these are the religious people. These are the priests that want to stop people from enjoying themselves too much about things. And that's what the censorship people are. They are like the Jesus people. No offense to people who believe in Jesus, but like I'm trying to give you the image of like the people that burned witches and stuff. That's are the people that do this now.
Yeah, because like when I was growing up, D&D was attacked for being satanic, and so was heavy metal. It
You
was a
know,
satanic panic.
there's a problem here. Like we have to realize that you might not notice this, but I have moved out into the forest and I don't interact a lot with people. I noticed that you're actually in a mass psychosis because that's how mass psychosis work. They uh, you'll get a crisis, then you get a calm, then you get a bigger crisis, then you get a calm, then you get an even bigger crisis. Like I think that's what they're doing. Like either it's intentional or not intentional, but it's happening either way, and that causes mass psychosis, and that causes totalitarianism and everything else that will happen. So it's sort of I do warn about that in my music a little bit, but I don't like to get into the modern day politics because I think it's that sort of trap and it's bad. And I don't think you should alienate your fans no matter who they are. So I think that's important.
Yeah, sometimes you can just have allegory in music instead of beating them on the head with a stick with you should support this or that. I think it's better to do that. So I mean, I think that's how, and that's why a lot of this modern like movies and stuff are like bad because like they don't have like metaphors or allegories, or they just like, oh, this is the message of the movie. It's like, well,
You
you
know,
can.
there's a problem here. Like, I think what they're missing is that they don't tackle big, larger issues that everyone can agree on. Like, I think there are like philosophical ideas and like ideas of what it means to be human that we can work on and discuss that instead. I also like to point out, I think at times I actually think both sides are right, but they are so much at each other's throat that they never see when they are right and when they are wrong. So there's perspectives and like uh, people today can't let go of the hatred and let go of the fear and let go of all this anger and do something that's better. Like they could do so much better if they just let that all go and talked and looked at another perspective, pretend to be the other guy for a change. Like try to imagine uh, what the other guy would be feeling and thinking, and you can actually see that he will be right in some things, he will be wrong in some things, because that's what all humans do.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree there. So I guess that kind of gets us into the as far as talking about modern things, as lame as a lot of it is, as you did want to actually address the AI thing. So if you wanted to talk about that, I did listen to that band. I was like, this is actually pretty good. I was kind of surprised about I'm talking about the Frostbite Orc Kings. I guess I looked up how they made that song, or that, the song that's out. What's it called? I forgot what it was called. Um, and I guess they did actually feed the AI, like these real musicians went into a studio and like did some work, and I'm not exactly sure the extent. But I guess if you want to give your thoughts on that whole thing that's going on with that.
Actually, I think we're going to lose something very important going forward. I think we're going to need another movement like the Romanticism movement during during the 1800s, during the Victorian age, when industrialization took over everything. And like I sit here in a bed that's like from the 1800s, everything is hand carved by someone from long ago. And I think it actually means something. And I think that music written by actual people means something. And if we let that go entirely and just accept this, I think this won't be a problem. Then we're going to lose something. Like, take, for example, Freddie Mercury. Like, you can't have art without having the artist, because the artist adds something to the art itself. What you're going to have is the lowest common denominator, and it's going to be only entertainment. And it's going to be controlled by large companies. I would tell you right now how they're going to make a lot of money. Prediction. Once AI gets advanced enough, you can make the AI, because music is a number game, you can make the AI identify every possible written song that you can write that sounds good to a human ear, and you can copyright all the songs before they are written. That's how you could make a lot of money with AI. And that's what I think will happen eventually, unless there's like a movement or something that reacts to this quick. But yeah, that's my prediction.
I think people will react to it. I don't think maybe not immediately because obviously a lot of people are apathetic. They don't want to.
Actually, that's by design. I actually think we're the weakest and dumbest people in all history right now.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I agree with that. I think there will be a backlash eventually, and I think there will be. My experience with AI, even though I'm going to be using, I thought about using some of it for like web design and stuff, but I'm not sure. Don't knock me for that, but I wanted to get in because like a little bit of that. But as far as like art and stuff, I had a bad experience with that because I spent like a whole night once typing all this stuff into this AI art generator, and I got really creeped out by it because it was just so like there was like this weird underlying menace to some of the art that came out, and I was just like, there's something creepy here, and it was like unspiritual feeling that I felt. To be honest, it was really bizarre, but I just wanted to relate that little anecdote about that. So
I actually think it's kind of weird to want to have AI have the illusion of feelings and stuff, because I think AI, what it should be really, is a calculator. It should be a more advanced calculator that can figure out ideas and tell us ideas, but not like enact them. That's what I think would be the most healthy and safe thing. Also, we should keep in mind that it's going to be used to kill people.
absolutely.
Like, imagine when AI and like robotics would be in the hands of someone like Kim Jong-un, for example. Imagine the person that's like the kind of person that only sees people as a tool. What when the people aren't worth keeping as a tool anymore? What will he do then?
Yeah, it's scary. I mean, what's happening? But I'm into a lot of different like role playing games and stuff, including Cyberpunk. And Cyberpunk is dystopian, but there's like people that are taking, there's different groups. Like I think what I think people are scared of is not going to happen the way that they think it is, and this is what I'm trying to relate about Cyberpunk. Because Cyberpunk is like there's people actively using the tools that are being used against them, against the people that are using the tools against them. And I think that's one more optimistic thing to think about is like, well, people can hack these systems. People can have their own part of society, or they could just be go out and live elsewhere, or hopefully, I don't know if people will be able to do that because they're really gearing up to do a lot of bad stuff, with
Well, we're currently living in the year of the reckoning, so I think a lot of things will change, but
oh yeah, for sure.
I think the world as we know it has already ended. I think it ended last year or something like that. I think it's gone, and there will be a new world now. Whatever that means, we will see. But I have a prediction that actually I think technology and ideas of religion and spiritualism will combine at some point, probably. But it's very complicated. To predict the future, you have to look at human nature and history. First of all, it's not like magic. You should look at what people would do. And I think what people will do is that we have currently people that have a mass psychosis, and we have the leaders studying mass psychosis that I think they can rule things, and that's a good idea. And I think that it will be AI and technological advancements will be used to suppress people, and more crises will come, one bigger than the next. And that's part of the breaking of the human spirit. And
yeah. I mean,
I don't think you should trust any politician at this point.
No doubt.
My opinion.
It's like in the United States, there's this Ron DeSantis that was talking about banning digital currency, central bank digital currency in Florida, and also there's other stuff in the works, like the Restrict Act, that would give the government too much power. But it's like DeSantis is not like a great person or anything. Like, he was very much involved in a lot of the war stuff that America got involved with, and just like a lot of gross stuff. But it's like, well, who's going to be talking about the central bank digital currency? I guess. I mean, I don't know. Like, I wish more people would talk about that, because that scares the living shit out of me, honestly. Because like, for them to have the central control over where your money goes, but hopefully people will be talking about it. That's what scares me. Well, more than AI, I think, in a way.
Yeah, of course, but the AI is just a tool ultimately. Even if it gained a sentient of itself, like, you don't go out burning ants with a magnifying glass, because that would be beneath you. Because that's what intelligent beings doesn't do. Like, intelligence won't automatically lead you to burn ants with a magnifying glass. It's ego that does that.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, as far as like I'm involved with, well, I have an interest in like the occult and magic and stuff a little bit. So I'm like, well, I don't think the human spirit will be destroyed by technology, because as long as we keep that element, the spiritual element in there, not in the technology, obviously, but in society. But of course, there's people that think of things as just machines. So, but
like I said, there should be tools to help us, like a calculator, and it should be available to all. We need people that are founded to make AI for the public. That's for the good of the public, not for the government and large corporations only. Also, I think it should not be all right to sell services of AI. You should buy AI as a computer program, sort of, rather than selling the services. Like, we need space for artists that are humans to make art. It's we know that Mike Tyson cannot beat a tank, but we should not say that. We should not devalue the act of being able to fight in a boxing ring for that. We should not allow a tank to fight in the boxing ring, so to speak.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think as far as I think eventually, my personal opinion is that there will be flaws that are found in AI art or music, and people kind of get sick of there are certain aspects. like I don't know. I had a really weird experience, and I know the technology is not the best right now. Some of it for art, but some of the stuff was just like really grotesque and creepy and awful. But maybe that's going to improve. But I still feel like art. I think a selling point of art and music and everything like that will be that, oh, it's made by humans, and you can like use that to sell what you're doing, and a certain audience will still buy that, product. Hopefully, I don't know, that Frostbite Orc Kings was pretty good. I I was pretty impressed. I didn't know that AI music had progressed that much, but I do know that they did do a lot of stuff in the studio to get to that point, but still in the future, who the hell knows what they're going to do. And the guitar tone sounded like real too, which I've used modeling amps and stuff. I'm like, oh, that's scary, but I don't know what they did, how they made it. That could be more to the story than we know too, because like at a certain point,
I honestly think the AI that's known behind it seems is much more advanced than the AI we got in the public. So that's something to keep in mind too. Like whatever AI we got here on our level is like going to be more advanced with the people that like have scientists and stuff at their disposal, and they like look to use it for military purposes. It's going to be much more advanced here. You said you had an interest in the cult. I can tell you about that sometimes, but I can't like do that in the interview. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no problems. So yeah, back to more lighter subjects, I guess. As far as your band goes, do you play? I mean, are you going to be playing live anytime soon, or do you have a live lineup in mind, or do you see it as more a studio at this point?
I don't see it as realistic to like get everyone together and have a jam. If it was possible, I would do it, but it seems like the struggle right now is to complete the next album. So it's like on that page. I'm not. I actually dream of like playing in like some place that are said to be cursed. That's my dream. Like we would take it out to the forest, have a car battery for the guitar and something, and like it would just have a different feel to like play in a cursed forest or something like that.
Oh yeah, well, I know there's like some cursed, like I don't know, like ruins places out there. That'd be kind of a cool place to play.
And I would I would probably do something that's like more of a performance art. That's I would actually suggest training people to become warlocks before going to the concert.
That'd be awesome.
Free beer or something. Yeah, you can have like name tags. It's a certified warlock. You went through the training or something.
Yeah, there needs to be more stuff like that, I think. I mean, it's just
something fun.
I don't like how concerts are all cashless too. But I don't. I'm talking about more conspiracy stuff. But like you have to get it on your phone. I miss concert tickets. That pisses me off. Like I collected concert tickets for so many years, and now I can get it printed out, but it's not the same. It's like this concert ticket has this aesthetic to it. But
I know what you mean.
Yeah, I mean, that's terrible. Yeah. So what are the plans for, are you doing more recordings, or what's the situation with that right now? Are you coming up with stuff, or?
Actually, most of the things are written, but it's not entirely completed. If I put it like that, like it's written, then you have to record it, and like it needs lots of more work, and I need like money. I need money.
Oh yeah.
For the people that are hired, and some people do for free, some people do mixture of like, okay, I do free little bit or extra price or something like that, but I won't say who, because all of them do it for sale in some capacity. So I think it would be bad for them to like get revealed that they did it for free or something. So.
Oh yeah, well, Yeah, it's hard to do that. I mean, that's what I do for one of my projects is hire people and stuff, and it's like
Yeah.
it's
It's the most convenient thing because then you get more options.
tell me about okay. So he says you write all the songs, but Jose Miguel Martinez is also involved. What's the situation with him then?
He helped me complete the song. Also corrects me when I do things that don't work to play. Like I write something, nobody can play this, and then he says something. I write something that I thought was awesome, and he says it won't work. And I don't get what he's saying because I don't have any musical training. But apparently, it won't
Oh
work
yeah,
to play that. So
yeah, it's that's interesting. So yeah, it had Rockabilly Guitars by Ry Bradley. I was just reading the liner notes here. So yeah, that's a lot of musicians that have that you have to sometimes you have to get people to help out, but then I try to do that too. And I had like a keyboardist. Who else did I have? I think he was from Puerto Rico. My drummer lives in the UK, and I live in the United States. I had this guy. Actually, it's funny because like I had a guitar guy on the album I'm working on, and
yeah.
he's in Russia, so it's kind of messed up, but like,
Yeah.
which is crazy.
It's the future of music. You don't
Yeah,
have to be in one place.
yeah, it's great. It's great. I really like it. The only
It,
thing that
it has its flaws and its advantages. It's like everything, a dark and a light side to it.
yeah, no, it would be cool to see your band like have some kind of theatrical show, with stuff. It's like
Yeah,
that's that kind of,
I actually think it would be funny to have like people in the audience and then they get abducted by creatures or something. Like you have actors in the audience and they abducted by creatures or something. They think it's the real audience that got abducted. It would be fun.
that would be awesome. That would be great. Yeah, I went
Yeah.
to I wasn't and yeah, I went. I don't want to mention this band, but I'm going to because it just made me think about how the audience. I've never seen this. Like I've been to like a Blind Guardian 2 or 3 times, 3 times. And the audience participates. But like Amon Amarth, they did the rowing thing in the audience. I was like, oh my god, I've never seen that before. Like they were during one of the songs. I can't remember which song it was, but I'm not a big like I'm not too super knowledgeable about them. But that was interesting. It just kind of reminded me of that. Not that your band reminds me of that. So, are you a fan of Skyclad at all? Because some of that kind of reminded me a little bit of that.
Hmm. I might have heard Skyclad, but it doesn't ring a bell immediately.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, it takes very much time for me to truly get into songs.
Oh yeah. Well, I think they influence a lot of the bands that are in the folk metal genre now, but like they are really old now. So like
yeah,
that's just,
there's a lack of new bands entering the folk metal Hall of Fame, so to speak. It's like they got to be 30 years ago or something.
yeah, it's just weird. It's like what's it called? What's this guy talking about? Uh, well, there's this. I mean, I think there's a lot of there's some good stuff coming out. I mean, obviously,
Yeah,
there's some.
there's good stuff, but you need to like push a band to like be recognized at some level to it gets mentioned with the other big bands that are like the old ones. Like until that, I would actually recommend Verikalpla. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. I'm not Finnish.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of there's a lot of Finnish bands. I just got I got into Swallow the Sun a little bit. I just started listening to them. They were going to play in this town, the town I live in,
Uh,
um, which is rare for that kind of band, but they got canceled because of the thing years back. So the thing we all had to go through, which was yeah. Anyways, we're not going to talk about that stuff. I don't want to talk about it. But so I think I'm going to wrap things up. Just if you want to promote everything that you're doing, including anything else that you have, or just give how can we find out about your band and what's our some links and stuff.
You can't find out about my band. It's top secret.
Okay. Well,
you won't find us at all. We will hide in the bushes.
Yeah, that sounds good. Or try to hide a little underground too. With some.
Yeah, we will appear when we're ready to appear.
Yeah, that would be great. I've always thought about that too, like digging myself in the dirt and just hiding. Popping up.
I want to live in a hole in the ground. It's my dream.
Yeah, it would be interesting. A lot of worms and stuff, but.
No, I don't mean like that. I don't mean directly in the ground. I mean build a house in the ground like a bunker.
I thought about that too, actually. Like up in northern Canada, I thought about living in a bunker, but it's self-contained and has all my entertainment and stuff, and just living alone. I don't, but it's really cold up there. Oh, probably colder than where you're at, honestly. But
no, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Really?
Yeah, I live in northern Sweden, so it's pretty cold.
Oh, damn. Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. I'd like to. I've never been over there to Scandinavia, so that's one of my goals eventually. I
think maybe we're equal. I'm not entirely sure. We could be equal. Like the northern hemisphere is not going to be too different on the other side of the globe. Like if it's the same closest to the North Pole.
I don't think. Yeah, no, I don't. I think you're probably colder. It gets pretty hot here. It's like at 80s and stuff but 6 months out of the year it's pretty cold. So I mean, that's how it is. But that's how it goes. But it's inspiring too. I wish there were more, interesting bands around here that would play stuff inspired by the cold north thing, like that. But
I actually think they should do more with Native American stuff. Like that would be interesting.
That would be. I wish that would be more of a thing. There's a lot of ideas, there's a lot of ideas I have too, like that. So
actually I do. The name Rädarna comes more from the Sami side of folklore mythology. I could do something with that eventually.
That would be cool. Yeah, that's something that's pretty unexplored by a lot of bands and stuff.
Yeah, I got stuff that are even hard to find in books, like the Kadinak. It's a race of beings that like have green hair and red clothes and are warriors. It's like something the Sami believed in, and they believed in many different things.
Yeah. Well, as long as they don't have painted eyebrows. Okay, that's just
they're not like that. It's like old stuff. My grandmother was Sami, so it's cool. My own roots a bit.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think there should be more stuff like that. There's so much stuff that's unexplored for sure. Like just a lot of different mythologies and.
Actually, I think I've done a pretty good job of like exploring things that haven't been used much in music yet.
Oh, absolutely. Definitely can tell from that. So, well, I'm going to conclude the episode, and I'll probably stop it, and I will. I'm always bad at ending the interview. I'm just gonna say thanks for. I'm actually just gonna say it, and then we'll continue, and you can tell me anything else that you want to do with the interview and stuff, and I'll edit this part out that I'm saying right now. But thanks for coming on to Metal Warriors Metal Madness, and then right here I'm going to put the links and stuff, so I'll edit that in.
Watch out for cars. You can get killed by a car. It was something they warned of in the 1800s. Now they warn of AI and stuff. So watch out for cars.
I will. I do, even though I drive a car, but
I don't drive a car. I live in the forest.
That would be that. I envy you. Do you have like a tree house?
Yeah, my house is made of wood.
Oh. Is it built into like a giant tree?
No, it's built on the side of a mountain.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Kind of like a. It makes me think of the nuclear bunker from the Terminator 3, but I don't know why.
Yeah.
I just have that on my mind. I don't know why I think about that. I think
It's
Armageddon is on my mind.
It's because of the AI stuff.
Exactly. Well, I will. Yeah, it's good to have you, and I hope you have a great. I think it's like 4 p.m. there, but I'll talk to you later.
I hope all our fans don't die before the next album. Take care.
You too.